Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm your host, Nat Plastino, and today we're diving deep into a topic that affects us all in one way or another: entitlement complex. So, what exactly is an entitlement complex? It's a psychological condition where an individual believes they are deserving of certain privileges or special treatment, often without considering the needs or feelings of others. Basically, it is where people put themselves first above all else, and sometimes it can be stepping on other people's toes in the process. Now, I am not saying we shouldn't put ourselves first. It is something we should prioritize. We always need to prioritize what is important in our lives, but if that involves being insensitive to others to get what we want or need, then it could have negative effects on how society functions as a whole. In today's fast paced world, this attitude can be pervasive, affecting our relationships, workplaces, friendships, and people we randomly encounter daily. Picture this. For example, you're in a crowded coffee shop and someone cuts in line without even a second thought. Or when we are driving and see other motorists taking up the whole row for themselves. We've all had this happen at one time or another in our lives. If it hasn't happened, good for you. You've been lucky. But sometimes this is something that can make our blood boil, make us angry. And it's a classic example of entitlement complex in action. But why does this happen? Psychologists have researched and have pointed to various factors, such as upbringing from our parents or teachers, societal influences, and even the rise of social media, where comparison and envy can fuel a sense of entitlement. Envy and comparison on social media has been known to foster an entitlement complex by fueling unrealistic expectations and dissatisfaction. As individuals curate their online personas, showcasing only the best aspects of their lives, viewers often perceive these idolized images as reality. Constant exposure to others' achievements, possessions, and experiences can lead to feelings of inadequacy and resentment, which then fosters a sense of entitlement. Basically, we see others, having many luxuries and freedom in life, so we then feel we deserve the same advantages as others have. By us developing this belief that we deserve similar luxuries or successes, it leads then to dissatisfaction when those expectations aren't met. This cycle perpetuates materialism and a distorted sense of entitlement, which erodes gratitude and contentment while amplifying social pressures. The content we absorb on social media distorts reality. It drives individuals towards an unhealthy pursuit of unattainable ideals. A lot of times we think what we see on social media is the full picture of how other people live their lives. But in actuality, it is very far from the truth and extremely exaggerated. So since it is a false sense of reality, does it really serve us in how we view our own life? One of the dangers of an entitlement complex is its impact on empathy, a very powerful emotion. When someone feels entitled, they might struggle to understand or relate to the experiences and perspective of others. This lack of empathy can then strain personal relationships, lead to workplace conflicts, and even contribute to larger social divides. But here's the thing. Recognizing entitlement in ourselves isn't about guilt or blame. It's about self-awareness, which I've talked about on other podcasts before. Also, involves also understanding. By acknowledging our own tendencies toward entitlement, we can work on cultivating empathy, gratitude, and humility. These qualities not only enhance our personal lives, but also contribute to a more compassionate society. As in the example I gave before in the coffee shop, there's no need to get upset and punch the person in the face for cutting in line, even though it sounds tempting. Instead, we can try and show consideration towards others, which can create a better environment for everyone. We don't need to be selfish in life. Everybody deserves to be treated equally. So, how can we combat the entitlement complex? It starts with small acts of kindness and consideration. Taking a moment to acknowledge the efforts of others, practicing active listening, and being grateful for what we have can go a long way. Additionally, fostering open conversations about entitlement and its impact can raise awareness and promote positive change. So, as we wrap up today's episode, let's remember that we all have a role to play in creating a more empathetic and understanding world. By being mindful of our attitudes and actions, we can challenge the entitlement complex and build stronger, more harmonious communities. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm Matt Plastino, and until next time, let's continue conversation and make the world a better place, one mindful moment at a time. Please share this episode if it benefited you in any sort of way, and please subscribe to this podcast. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. That's all for today. Bye for now.